Phyrexia, all will be 1. A terrifying set with flavor, variety, and power. One so cool, in fact, that myself, as well as many Magic the Gathering players, have been inclined to build at least one new commander deck with the new legends contained within. But what is the one most powerful new commander from the set? Well, we're actually going to be looking at 5 of them, as well as our deck building strategies for each, so buckle up. But first, keep your head of hair with Keeps, sponsor of this video. I know you've heard of Keeps before, but maybe now you're in a different place in your life and you're considering a way to get in front of male pattern baldness. Well, Keeps is your hair loss prevention unit, and their job is thinking about your look and lifestyle. Think of them as your team for helping you keep your thick, strong, beautiful hair. Keeps has been recommended to a vast amount of people and has been proven to be a reliable hair loss treatment. If you're looking to give it a try, it's very easy to get started. Choose a plan, complete your profile, and a licensed professional will review your information. Afterwards, they will decide what the best medication plan will be for you. And that's really all Keeps is. It's just the generic version of name brand hair loss medication and delivered to you for a great price. And so if you do want to use Keeps as that tool against male pattern baldness, use my link to get started. Head to www.keeps.com/Tolarian to get 50% off your first order of hair loss treatment. Thanks again, Keeps, for sponsoring this video. We're going to start this list with a healthy honorable mention slot dedicated to not just one card, but 5? 5 cards that, if not placed here together, would have undoubtedly infected most of the remaining list. That's why the honorable mention spot here goes to the Phyrexian Dominars. No, wait, not Dominars. This isn't Farscape. It's the Phyrexian Dominus. Dominis? Dominuses? Well, no matter how you pronounce it, the wretched splendor of New Phyrexia is manifest in these 5 new legendary Phyrexian horrors. These beings attempt to mirror a power level found amongst the literal gods of the multiverse, each looming with an ability that costs 2 Phyrexian mana plus a few additional demands. When paid, our devotion to these domininis is rewarded with an indestructible counter, guaranteeing that their game-warping first ability is solidly protected. And the first ability of each horror is where they truly dominate. Mondrak doubles all the tokens generated. Tecuthal doubles proliferated. Drivnod doubles death trigger demises. Sulfim doubles all damage we're dealing as long as that damage is outside of swinging. And Zopendral doubles our toughness and power. Make your opponents glower, because it's on each player's combat on every encounter. Effects happening twice rather than once is the sort of value that win conditions are built upon. And a wind condition in the command zone is an enormous power that deserves the honor of this mention. I have no doubts you will have the honor of facing these horrors on the battlefield soon. So yes, these dominoes are certainly a noteworthy highlight of the All Will Be One set. But moving on to our numbered list, I'd like to take a look at another key feature of the All Will Be One set: poison counters. Perhaps as contentious as they are beloved, poison counters have returned in this set as one of the premier alternate win conditions. And alt win conditions are something I'm a huge proponent of in Commander, so the first commander on our list will be one that focuses on poison counters. Now, this is a commander that I believe will not only fly under the radar, but also lead to game experiences more palatable, less panic-inducing, and even, possibly, dare I say it, more fun? With poison? Can that be one? Popular poison commanders, such as Atraxa, Praetor's Voice, Ixhel, Scion of Atraxa, and Skittles, the Blight Dragon, are, without fail, going to raise alarms the moment we sit down at the table to play them. If we want to play with poison counters, but not be targeted on turn 0, let's try our number 5 pick on this list, Rhea Ivor, Bane of Bladehold. Rhea Ivor is a 3/4 legendary Phyrexian knight that costs 2 generic, 1 white, and 1 black black mana. Rhea has Battle Cry. Whenever this creature attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. She also states, at the beginning of combat on your turn, the next time target creature would deal combat damage to one or more players this combat, prevent that damage. If damage is prevented this way, create that many 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Rhea promotes a clean two-step game plan for us to follow. Step 1. Attack with large powered threats, targeting them with Rhea's ability to turn their combat damage into dozens of Toxic Mights. Step 2. Give our board of Mights and Battlecry boosted creatures mass evasion, guaranteeing we send waves of lethal poison and regular damage onto our opponents. Let's achieve Step 1 by casting creatures like Rotting Regisaur, Abyssal Persecutor, and Mirren Crusader, all which, for the cost of their mana, are capable of yielding abnormally high damage payoffs. Alongside our commander's Battlecry ability, these creatures respectively threaten to attack with 8, 7, and 6 total damage each combat, yielding us that many Phyrexian Mights. Speaking of Mights, the Might Lord itself, Skrelv, Defector Might, plays a strong role here, granting our huge attackers not only evasion from key colors, but also Toxic 1, helping us begin the infection early. Once our field of horrible mechanical bugs are in play, let's guarantee they can deal their lethal poison damage by granting them evasion with Glaring Spotlight and Cover of Darkness. Glaring Spotlight can be activated for 3 mana, granting our entire board unblockable and hexproof. Unfortunately, Cover of Darkness doesn't apply to our entire board. However, as it enters, we can choose the creature type Might, giving them all fear and setting up our poison victory against many unsuspecting matchups. Next in our duo of off-meta, hipster, and less blatantly terrifying poison commanders comes our number 4 pick, Kinzu of the Bleak Coven. Kinzu is a 5/4 flying legendary Phyrexian vampire that costs 4 generic and 1 black mana. She states, whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may pay 2 and exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1 and has Toxic 1. Kinzu's game plan is subtle and sinister, with a legion of unassuming, low mana value, evasive, and infect-carrying creatures. We can slowly rot our opponents away before using Kinzu herself to deal the final blow. Infect-laden creatures like Flenser Might, Plague Stinger, and Vector Asp will run alongside hard-to-block creatures like Changeling Outcast and Tormented Soul. All of these creatures are key targets for our commander's eventual death trigger ability. As they die, they will be exiled and returned to the battlefield as token copies with Toxic 1. The Flenser Might, Plague Stinger, and Vector Asp copies are now twice as potent, as they are packing both Toxic 1 and Infect. And our unblockable Changeling Outcast and Tormented Soul copies? No longer are they swinging for just 1 out of 40 life points on attack, but now for 1 out of 10 poison counters each. Kinzu of the Bleak Coven herself is an evasive flyer, and her 5 power should not be underestimated. Access to the infect-granting spells Phyreses and Tainted Strike is key here. The threat of Kinzu's 5 combat damage suddenly becoming infect damage means 5 poison counters is all we need to accumulate on one opponent before our commander threatens to remove them from the game completely. Moving on to the next part of our list, we slink away from the dark pits of poison and onto the more sophisticated, intellectual, and scientific realm of New Phyrexia. Prepare your scalpels, needles, and probes. Surgical completion is nigh! In a time now lost, a time before the oil took away everything, the Vidalcan known as Kirik was a prominent and proud member of the Synod. Depicted as the Grand Architect, Kirik was an awe-inspiring, innovative force for his people. But as a researcher of the mysterious oil, his fate was all but sealed. The Phyrexian oil corrupted and completed Kirik. And today he persists only to serve the Flesh Singularity as our number 3 commander on this list. Unctus Grand Metatect. Unctus Grand Metatect is a 2/4 legendary artifact Phyrexian Vidalcan, try saying that 5 times fast, that costs 1 generic and 2 blue mana to cast. Unctus has 3 distinct abilities for us to build a deck around. His first ability states, other blue creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes tapped, draw a card, then discard a card. The next ability simply states, other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1. And tying it all together, the Grand Metatext's final ability states, pay 1 Phyrexian blue mana. Until end of turn, target creature you control becomes a blue artifact in addition to its other colors and types. Activate only as a sorcery. What intrigues me far and away the most about Unctus is his first ability that allows us to draw cards for simply tapping our blue creatures. Finally! After all these years, it's finally the Merfolk Looter's time to shine. Go, Merfolk Looter, go! He and his brethren, Thought Courier, Bonded Fetch, and Jace Vryn's Prodigy now all tap to draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards instead of 1. Drawing cards, filling our graveyard, and sculpting our hand with this Looter Legion will lead to multiple payoffs for the long game. Toothy Imaginary Friend and Chasm Skulker are 2 reliable lieutenants to mono blue draw engines, each creature growing larger with each card drawn from our Metatect upgraded looters. They even burst upon death for either more card draw in Toothy's case or a gamut of squid tokens in Chasm's Skulkers. Let's find one more payoff for all Unctus provides, including the discard portion of his ability that is inevitably filling our graveyard. Enter Dollhouse of Horrors, a 5-mana artifact that, for 1 mana and tap, exiles a creature card from our graveyard to create a token that's a copy of the exiled card. Except it's a 0/0 construct artifact in addition to its other types, and this creature gets +1/+1 for each construct you control. Not only does this Dollhouse of Horrors let us sew new wicked puppets out of the creatures our looters discard, it returns them conveniently as artifacts, meaning they'll even receive the +1/+1 bonus that the Grand Metatect provides. Alright, so who are the 2 most powerful new commanders from Phyrexia All Will Be One? Well, next on our list, I gotta say it, I love Voltron. I'm not ashamed, and I also love Mono Green, but can we really have a Mono Green Voltron commander? Ha ha ha, we can. Number 2 on our list is the next mono green king of turning sideways. It's Thrun, Breaker of Silence. Thrun, Breaker of Silence is a 5/5 legendary troll shaman with trample that costs 3 generic mana and 2 green mana to cast. Thrun states, this spell can't be countered. Thrun, Breaker of Silence can't be the target of non-green spells your opponents control or abilities from non-green sources your opponents control. As long as it's your turn, Thrun has indestructible. Wowee, that sure is a lot of different ways to tell our opponent, good freaking luck getting rid of this guy.
What can you do against him?
You can't do anything.
You can't do anything.
You can't do anything.
Frankly.
Blue mages befuddle as their vapor snags and counter spells fail to do anything to Thrun while he's on the stack or the battlefield. Red mages rage as their Warstrom Surge's damage is shrugged right off of Thrun's chunky green dad bod. White mages weep as their Path to Exiles and Swords to Plowshares have no place in Thrun's face. And black mages buckle as, try as they might, our troll commander doesn't die to removal like Doomblade or Infernal Grasp, or Deadly Rollick, or any of them for that matter. Reliability is going to be Thrun's greatest strength, and with his copious lines of protection, all we've left to do is increase his power and make him hurt as much as possible in combat. Let's suit him up with Bone Sabers and Fire Shrieker, giving him double strike and 4 counters worth of power upon attacking. Then there's nothing like an instant speed choose your weapon to double his power, assuring a KO in whichever hapless player's direction he is headed. And so we have arrived at our final pick on the list of 5 commanders from Phyrexia All Will Be One, and our decision should come as no surprise. While many great legends arose in this set, there is only one who stands tall above the rest. In New Phyrexia, there is only one worthy of the number 1 spot, and that one is Mother. The best new legendary commander from Phyrexia All Will Be One is the uncontested, the extremely pushed, the grand Cenobite herself, Elish Norn, Mother of Machines.
I'm made of living metal, not jet skis.
Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, is a 4/7 legendary Phyrexian Praetor with Vigilance that costs 4 generic and 1 white mana. She states, if a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. And permanents entering the battlefield don't cause abilities of permanents your opponents control to trigger. That's it. Shut it down. Pack it in. No more white is the weakest color in Commander debates allowed at all. This Commander is broken. It is. It's just busted, but in a great way. As far as deck construction for Elish Norn goes, her second ability, shutting down the enter the battlefields of our opponents, isn't something we need to focus on or even amplify in any way. It's simply a cherry on top of our value machine sundae. It is Elish Norn's first ability where we focus the synergies and strengths of the remaining cards in our deck. But what enter the battlefield effects should we double up on with this ability? Well, every deck needs card draw, so let's begin there. Spirited Companion, Inspiring Overseer, and Priest of Ancient Lore become reliable pseudo-mull drifters alongside Elish Norn, drawing us 2 cards when they all enter. Other key deck ingredients like board interaction and threat removal can also come in the form of double enter the battlefield abilities. With Elish Norn in play, Angel of the Ruins enters with the ability to exile up to 4 target enchantments and artifacts that may be causing us problems. And Aerial Extortionist enters with the ability to exile 2 of the most troublesome non-land permanents we may be dealing with. With her amplifying our game state and simultaneously dismantling our opponents, what final ace-in-the-hole include can we cast? Why, none other than Mother herself. Elish Norn Grand Cenobite, of course. That's right, Elish Norn Grand Cenobite is in the deck as well. Together, our double mommies of generically overtuned effects will prove that Mono White in Commander is never, ever to be underestimated again. But those are just my 5-10 commanders from one that I think are the most powerful, and now I want to hear from you. What one commander from this set are you most excited to build a deck around? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, whether you are buying packs, hopefully to draft and not to crack open to get a commander card, which you buy singles, or just deck boxes and accessories, when it is possible, when it is reasonable to do so, try and spend that money where you spend time playing this great game, and that's at your local game store whenever possible. You're supporting your Magic community. Hey, once again, big thank you to Keeps for sponsoring this video. If you want to get in front of or help combat the effects of male pattern baldness, check out Keeps. It's what they do. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being bald or going bald, but there's also nothing wrong with wanting to have hair. And if that's you and biology is working against you, that's where Keeps comes in, providing you with plans, providing you with treatments, and even licensed professionals to ask questions anytime you'd like. So if you are interested, head on over to www.keeps.com/Tolarian to get 50% off your first order of hair loss treatment. Thank you, Keeps, for sponsoring this video.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
Today, our old favorite classic commander decks, but they're allowed to do a little tune-up if they see fit.
My name's Lexi, otherwise known as Micro Mage, and I have brought Essex.
Hi, I'm Amy the Amazonian, and I'm playing Lord Windgrace's Dirty Litter Box.
Hello, everybody. My name is Voxy, and I have crabs.
Crucible of Worlds.
Was that a secret lair?
Oh yeah, this is Secret Lair Amazonian, and only get it from my house.
How do we feel about Infect happening?
My 1/1 snake is not the threat.
I really love that shirt because it implies that Garruk broke his curse by ripping his shirt off.
Show a little skin.
Hell yeah.